everyone, it's Laura from Laura's Handcrafted Treats and Treasures. Welcome to or back to my channel. Okay, I am here with the project I talked about in my last video. I think it's going to be my last video because this one might take me a minute. And I'll link that one in the description box below. I made like a flip out little thing that I like to put in my journals. So I started out with this one first when I had made my recipe keeper book. I'll put those in the description box as well. And so because I had made this, I was determined to use this. Now here's the thing is if I was going to remake this, I would remake it a little bit differently, but these are just trial runs, but I was determined. I did it. I did all the work and I want to use this. So let me go through some of the things first, and then I'll tell you why I would make this differently the next time around. Okay, so I have this wire binding. I've already used it once, but it's open a little bit, so I actually can get paper in there. You know, if I finagle it right, I can get this paper in there. Okay, so I want to get that, or I want to use that. So this one, I actually, on my cinch, I had the ends out, the ends that would punch the holes here. And of course, this isn't long enough for the 12 hole. So it left me these little dents. I didn't like it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use it, but no. And then my pencil mark that I used to get my center won't come off because I think I did that before I Mod Podged it. So it's up underneath there. Anyway, I didn't like it anyway. So we're going to toss that. I am going to go ahead and I will repunch this after it's covered. But what I decided was I was going to make this just a tad bigger. So it's 5.5 by 5.5. And I think the other one was just below that. But this is going to be the cover. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use the same paper to cover it, although I could switch. Okay, so here are the little sheets that I'm going to be using, and you'll see what I'll do with those. But right now, these ones are 5.25 by 5.25. So I'm going to set those aside, and now here's the papers that I'm going to be using. This one came from Spring Garden, I think. Let me check my notes. Yep, Spring Garden. And then the rest of these came from Breath of Spring. Now, I may go pick from other kits. I have the Psalm 23 kit that I'm going to be using. So I may go pull from other kits. In fact, I did these the other day. Because these may end up in there somewhere, but I did those. And then this, like I said, is from Breath of Spring. So I'll go through these pretty quickly. And then the pages that are like this, what I will be doing is cutting them down to 4 3/4 by 5. And we'll get into why I'm going to be doing that. But here are the papers that I'm going to be using. So I should be able to get in any direction. I should be able to get, yep, 2 out of these. Okay. Because some of them are directional. So I want to make sure I'm getting the direction that I need. All right. So what I'm going to be doing is cutting these papers down to this size, because these are what I'm going to be pasting on. And the way I did it was I just measured from the bottom of these because I don't want to have to repunch this paper. Plus, I was trying to get it sized down a little bit. But these will be glued on, the papers I just showed you. So that's sort of my guide there. And then these came with the kit. So these are going to be elements I use within this little flip book that I'm making. And then this one came from Psalm 23, this backing. And I just love it. It's got a little bit of a crackle. I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty cool. I'm sure I'm going to be using this on other things too. So I'm going to be using these. Here's some envelopes. I backed those. Some tags. Now these might be a little tall. Doesn't matter because I can use them in a different project. I think they're going to be a little tall to go in. I can always cut them down and then ink them bottom, but we'll see. We'll see where we go with that because they're definitely wide enough. And what my thought was is I would cut them into tags and I would have 4 tags. It's meant to be a booklet, but I think I want to do tags. Okay, and then these are perfect size, and these are going to end up being in the little flip up. And then I thought this would look pretty cool. I don't know if it's going to be too big, but I bet I could even trim that down just a little bit from the bottom and the top and make that work as well. Otherwise, I should have printed this like 2 to a page, so I would have gotten a smaller envelope. I think I can make that work. I might put it on the back or the cover. I don't know. I don't want to say what I'm going to do because as I do these, my brain continues to go. And then I'll say I'm going to do it one way, but then I end up doing it another. These pockets are perfect. They're going to be perfect for what I want to do. And then of course we have the little tags, and then we have all of the little sayings. Now this is kind of an Easter, it's like an Easter journal, and I thought, well, I don't really want to make it specific to Easter. It would be something that could sit out on your desk or somewhere all year. But then I got to thinking, you know what, it's Easter every day because Christ is risen. And it's Easter every day, so we should be celebrating that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and make it an Easter theme. Whoever I give it to or whatever, they can figure out, you know, what they want to do with it. Okay, so what we're going to be doing, just so you get a little bit of an idea, is these are going to go in here. My cover will go on, and then this will sit on your desk. And then you will be able to flip these to the back and then have your new set of whatever I put here. But you also can turn it around. And I'm not going to make I thought about making it like a monthly thing. And I thought, no, I'm just going to make as many as I want for like daily type of reflection. And then back here I thought would be a great spot too to put some journaling or something. So like I said, the ideas will evolve as I get going, but this is just the start. So I'm going to go ahead and get my papers cut, but what I wanted to say was if I redesign this, I am going to design it in a manner of width and height so that I can get 4 of these. So when you cut off the quarter, there's about a 1/4 of an inch. So when I cut that off, I don't have a borderless printer. At least I don't know if it prints borderless. I've never really dug into that. But you usually, it's a 8.5 by 11. And then when you sort of cut that 1/4 inch off, you have 8. When you cut this 1/4 inch off, you're going to basically have 10.5, or I'm sorry, I'm getting my things right. You're going to have 8 this way, and then you're going to have about 10.5 this way. So what I want to be able to do is do a 4 by, you know, however that works out, so that if I do these again, and I may use a different paper next time, I can get 4, because this way I can only get 2. So I'm sure this will all be used. It can be used to make tags and pockets and all different stuff. I'm sure it will get used, but I'm just going to be more mindful to not have to print more papers, because as it is right now, I'm going to get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I think this is 12. So I'm going to have to print all of these again, because I think I have about 15 of these. And if I'm doing front and back, depending on if I just make this a journal spot, I'm going to need more paper. So anyway, all that being said, I am going to go ahead and make my cover, which I think that would be a pretty cover too. I'm going to go ahead and cut everything I need for these. I'm going to get all of my fussy cuts done. And then I'm going to come back and start kind of thinking about how I want the pages to go. Now, another thing about this too is the way it's designed. You can make this flat and you can write on it. So even if the wire's in there, you can still lay it down and your wires will kind of fold up a little bit, and then you can journal. So, okay, I'm going to get started and then I'll be back to show you where I'm at. Okay, it has been several days later. I've had a lot going on. So I've come in and done glimpses of things that I'm going to be putting in our little book here. So I kind of went a different route, and this is sort of what I came up with. I decided that I wanted each page to have a decorative page on the back. So when you turn it around, you're going to have your decorative page on the back. I'm just going to leave it down so you can kind of see what I did. So I just kind of alternated pages back and forth, and every single one of them is covered. So a couple things I want to mention before I go over kind of my next step. I did end up putting it in the wire because I can lay it down to glue anything that I want to glue. All right, so as I was going through Carolyn's papers, looking for things that I could use for this kit, I did come across Nerioli Blossom. It is a paper pack. It's just paper, but it would go great with the Breath of Spring. That's what this one is, Breath of Spring. It would go great to alternate more of your papers. So I wanted to bring that one up. And then I did find these scripture labels. So if you look for them, they're going to be, they're just called scripture labels set 1. There's 2 different sets in there, but I thought, oh, this is going to go really good because my plan is to put some sort of a title or something at the top, and then we'll get to the pockets. So I'll just leave that open so that we kind of understand. And then on the back side, not this one, but so I'll cut those out. Those will get laid on the paper. And then I came across these journal cards, and they're so super cute. And I thought, oh, this would go good with it as well. When I cut them out, it'll be part of like a little, journaling tag, because everything's going to have a pocket. I decided not to do the journaling thing on the back because there are actually 15 of these. So that gives 30, plus you could put something on the back of this, so it could be 31. So it could be used monthly. And my goal is to not keep it in one theme, but just so it sits on a desk and can be used monthly. Okay, so then on the back of this, I really loved this. You can see just the crackle. I don't know if you can see it, but for backing, this came out of I think it was the Psalm 23. Yeah, it was the Psalm 23 kit, which I have things to go along with that. This was actually called vintage lined notepad cards. Let's see. I want to name everything that I'm using in this because if you go looking for it, I want you to know what to look for. I did get the Psalm 23 kit too because I'm going to use that in here as well. And then, okay, so let's go through the pockets. Let's see if I have the one. Okay, so this was part of the Breath of Spring. And these are some of the pockets that came from it. I printed another one thinking, okay, I would alternate. And I still may have to cut some of these. But then I started to be like, well, I had these little strips of paper left over, right, from all that cutting that I did to get my sheets for here, and I thought, you know, I just need to use these and make pockets out of them, which I'm actually still using pockets and tags. So a little bit of what I did was I just cut out pieces, and now that I look at this, it's upside down. That's funny. But then I have a little cutter that makes these curves, so I did a couple of those. This came from the kit, but these will all be like placed in here. And then let's see, these are all from the kit. I have a die cut that does this, so I can actually put that on the page and then put, you know, a couple different little things in there. I cut, this came from a die cut, but then I just cut it here to make it a little corner tuck spot. This could be just a pocket. It could go to the side or could go here. These, excuse me, these came from die cuts. Same thing. They can be little tuck spots. That was a die cut. So if you have die cuts, just get them out and, you know, manipulate them a little bit and see what you can make from them to make pockets. This one I just cut out, and then I have a corner punch, which I'll get that. This is one of my favorite corner punches from Stampin' Up. I love this thing. But that's how I got these edges. So that's going to become a pocket. This came from a die cut that it's a border die cut. So I just cut a piece of paper, put the border there, made another little pocket. This is another die cut that I have. So you kind of get the idea of how to you know, just kind of use what you have. If you don't have die cuts, you can cut any of these shapes out too. You can use decorative scissors, pinking shears, just kind of let your mind get creative. So those are the pockets. Now, I did want to talk about these pockets. So normally when you put a pocket in, you would just glue here, here, and here. A lot of times I glue these down, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting these tabs completely off, because when I put my pocket in here, I want it to hold my tag or whatever I put in there very securely, because when I flip it, I don't want things falling out. I just need to be able to snug a tag or something in there. So that's what I'm going to do with that. And then here's some writing things. So this was one I wanted to show you that I took my die cut. So I took my large die cut right here and I made this shape. And then I took regular, like it's real thin notebook paper. It came from the Dollar Tree, so it's super thin, which is great. That's what I wanted. So you could kind of, you know, maybe see a little bit of a background. But then I just ran it through the machine, the smaller one. I ran this through, but I'll tell you how to get a better cut is get a scrap piece of cardstock and put a couple sheets, put your die cut on, and then run it through with it, and then it will cut better. And I kind of run it through a couple times, and then it cuts better. Now this one I will take and I will glue this down, and then that gives me a writing spot. Okay, so let's talk about the writing spots. So I've kind of gone through my stash. Now these are extra pieces. See, these all came from all these extra pieces. I have a punch that actually does a couple of different sizes. Let me grab that real quick. So I used this, and I used a 2. And so I just cut them all down to size. But since these were white on the back, I did go through and put backings on them. Some of this was my eco-dyed paper, but I just used another thin, like copy paper type thickness to back that, and I'll get them all inked up. But if you don't have, you know, that, then you can certainly just take, where's my little card? Well, of course I had it sitting here and now it's gone, but I have a little template. Looks like a little, there it is. You know, it was just an old gift card that got used up. And then I just have a couple, you know, I've made a couple triangles, whatever you want to call it. And then you just put it here, snip, put it here, snip, and all you need is scissors for that. And then if you have a hole punch, you can always go ahead and take your hole punch and then put a hole in it if you so desire, or you can put tabs. So I'm not putting hole punch because I may put tabs, which are easy to make without all the tools as well. Okay, so these came from, let's see, it was Prayer Request Journal cards. Carolyn has several different of these. I couldn't tell you exactly which one it came from, but I have a couple different styles in my repertoire, how do they say that? So I thought those might be cool, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with those. I went looking through my stash. If you collect cards, like greeting cards, these make great little journaling as well, because you can cover the back, and then you have a pretty picture, and then you have journaling on the back. Now, these came with the kit, and with the Breath of Spring, only I did 2 to a page because they were too big the other way for what I want, because this is sort of miniature. So these will all get used as part of a journaling spot. And then I have, let's go to these first. That came from the kit. These came from the kit as well. So these will be good, and you can decorate these further. So I have a lot to work with. Plus, I went through my stash. This was a recipe card. I kind of cut it down. I might have to cut more over here. I just grabbed a piece of paper that may get coffee dyed. Again, through with my notes. I have all this kind of stuff that I can go through and have journaling spots. And then this is the Psalm 23, which is, where's my other one? I'm missing one. Is becoming quickly my favorite. If you've ever heard that song by Leanna Crawford, Psalm 23, Still Waters. If you've not heard it, go listen to it, because it's just absolutely gorgeous song. But I have the other one somewhere. I just have to find it. Wait a minute, here it is. Okay. So I want to put this throughout. I mean, I have a lot. Not everything is going to get put in. But this definitely is something I really want. If I don't use it here, I'm going to actually do the Psalm 23 kit that Carolyn has. Okay. All right. So we have all of that. And then I, again, went through my stash. Now, these are ones that actually, they were blank labels. I don't remember where I got them, but the blank ones, I just went in and I put my own scriptures in. This came from one of Carolyn's kits. This is another scripture tickets. I don't know how it's worded in her shop, but so I did a bunch of those. I don't remember which kit this one came from. But then I had found that other one. I thought, oh, I'll probably be using a lot of that. And then these all came, I fussy cut all of these. These all came from the kit. And this is actually what I'm thinking about putting on the cover. And then, of course, all these little fussy cuts. All right, so we've gone over everything that I can think of, the kits and where you can go look for them. And then I'm going to go ahead and start working on this. I'm going to start putting pockets in. I'm going to start putting these labels. I'll put those in. Oh, I also have a lot of scripture stamps. So I may stamp some things too. And I'll probably use like some of this extra paper to do that. So, but I thought I may do this for the cover. Oh, that's not the cover. That's the inside. But I want to work some sort of combination. Maybe put this in here. Or I thought about this, you know, because it would say, it is finished, Jesus. Like that's what Jesus said. And I believe it. So I'm going to do that butterfly. And then maybe this little heart combination bow. So anyway, I'm going to get working on it. I think the next time you're going to see me, I'm going to be doing a flip through because everything else is really just gluing. So I showed you everything I'm going to work with, and I'm going to get working on this and I'll be back. And here it is. All right. I'm excited to show you this. I've spent quite a bit of time on it and it just came out absolutely beautiful. So like I said, I was going to put pockets and words or scripture and everything on both sides. You'll see them as I flip them, but once I get flipped, I'll turn it around. Once I get flipped, I'll turn it around and show you. So I've just done a little bit of decorating. I was going to decorate the tags, but then I was like, well, wait a minute, you could actually journal on both sides of these, so I didn't want to do that. And so actually I ended up with 30 because there's 15 little pages and then some on each side. So this is meant to be like a desk, I don't know what they call them, but you set it up on your desk and then you can flip it each day or whenever you want to. Meant to be used you know, throughout the years. It's not just a one-time use, but each of them has some sort of scripture. Some of them have more than one, and then they have a little writing spot. But I absolutely love how it came out. Now, I did talk about everything that I used. There were more kits, like I said, that I could have probably pulled from, but I had to get going here because I have some other projects coming up. But anyway, I think it came out great. These are from Carolyn. She has some different fussy cuts for different seasons, so go check those out too. Like I said, her links will be in the description box. But I just love it. I think it just came out so awesome. And I did spend quite a bit of time on this one. But since right now my time is limited, it's been glimpses of times. But I did get a really good day yesterday and the day before. So I can't even tell you how many hours, but it did take a while. But I would still encourage, you know, giving it a try. And then, like I said, my original Recipe Keeper one, it'll be in the description box because it shows you how to bind. But yep, I just absolutely love it. Oh, looks like I missed maybe putting a little something here. I'll have to go back to that one. And then when you get to the end, of course, it's flipped over and then you turn it and then you start flipping to the back again. So it's really neat. I really love it. So I'm going to flip through these and then I will let you go. And hopefully you will go grab some papers and have some fun. I think these came from Carolyn too. At least that's where they're at in my digital. I have digital files in my computer. And so in Carolyn's folder, that's where it's at. So I'm assuming that's where that's where I got it from. I tried to put them in folders immediately when I download them so that I don't ever have to be like, where did this come from? And a lot of times creators are now putting their logos on them. This one didn't have one, but so then I can just look at it and be like, oh yeah, that came from so-and-so. But yeah, I started to get so many different digitals. I'm like, I got to come up with a system because I'm not going to remember them all. Yep, a labor of love for sure, and I love it. I thought about putting something here. I did that, but you know, I mean, I guess it's good the way it is. And then I didn't put anything on the cover. I'm probably going to do something here. But what I did do was once you flip this back, now in the very, very back, I just found this in my stash. And I also printed these. These came from Carolyn, and they are in her Etsy shop. And those can all just go in the back. And since this one is not getting flipped over, but it's actually where you set this up at, these, you never have to worry about these falling out. But yeah, there it is. It's all done. and I'm super excited about it. So I hope you've enjoyed this and found this maybe helpful, and you go make one. All right, so thanks everyone. Have a great day. Bye.